My wife couldn't even wait until we landed to betray me. She cheated on me on the airplane, on our way to our honeymoon. Yeah, let that sink in. I wasn't even married for a full day before she decided our vows were a joke. She didn't wait until we got to the resort. She didn't wait until I did something wrong. No, she did it on the plane, at 35,000 feet, sitting just a few seats away from me. I never thought I'd be the guy with a horror story like this, but here we are. Let me take you back. Our wedding was perfect, at least, that's what I thought. Everything went off without a hitch. We had a beautiful ceremony, friends and family were crying, and she looked stunning. I was the happiest man alive. I thought she was too. That night, we had the reception, drank a little, danced, and had fun. I wasn't even suspicious of anything. I didn't have any reason to be. We had been together for almost 4 years, and as far as I knew, she was completely devoted to me. She was the type of woman everyone described as wife material, loyal, affectionate, kind. I thought I won in life by marrying her. After the wedding, we went straight to a hotel near the airport because we had an early morning flight. We were flying to the Maldives for our honeymoon, our dream destination. We were both exhausted that night, so we just crashed. No crazy wedding night activities. But that was fine. We had a whole honeymoon ahead of us. Or so I thought. The next morning, we got to the airport, still in that post-wedding glow. She was in a good mood, laughing, holding my hand, kissing me every chance she got. Everything was normal. But looking back, something changed when we boarded the plane. The flight was about 10 hours, and we had seats together. But before takeoff, she suddenly told me she wasn't feeling too well and wanted to sit near the restroom, just in case. I didn't think much of it. I was still in that honeymoon bliss, thinking, she's just feeling sick. No big deal. She asked a flight attendant if she could switch seats with someone closer to the back. The flight wasn't fully booked, so it was easy. A random guy, a tall, muscular, good-looking guy in his early 30s, was sitting back there alone, and they put her next to him. I should have been annoyed. I should have been suspicious. But I wasn't. I just told her to text me if she needed anything, and she smiled and kissed me before walking back. About an hour into the flight, I got up to check on her. She had told me she wasn't feeling well, after all. That's when I saw something that made my stomach drop. She wasn't sick. She wasn't resting. She was flirting with the guy, laughing, touching his arm, leaning in way too close. It was obvious, and I stood there, frozen, like an idiot. I told myself I was overreacting. Maybe she was just being friendly. Maybe I was misinterpreting things. But something inside me told me to keep watching. I went back to my seat and pretended to read, but my eyes kept darting toward them. And then, about an hour later, she got up and followed him to the bathroom. At first, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe they just both had to go at the same time. But when 5 minutes passed, then 10 minutes, then 15, I knew. I stood up, my heart pounding, my hands shaking. I marched straight to the back, stood outside the bathroom, and listened. And what I heard? Soft giggles, whispers, the sound of lips meeting, and then muffled moans. Right there, in the tiny airplane bathroom, with some random stranger she just met. On our honeymoon flight. I didn't even think. I banged on the door, hard. Silence. Then scrambling. Then her panicked voice. Oh, 1 second. I wasn't waiting. I kicked the door open. And there she was. Hair a mess. Shirt unbuttoned. A guilty look plastered all over her face. And him? He was still buckling his belt, staring at me like I was some wild animal. I didn't say a word. I just took out my phone and started filming. Smile, I said, my voice ice cold. You just ruined your entire marriage. I stood there, phone in hand, camera rolling, as my new wife scrambled to button her shirt, her eyes wide with shock. The guy, Some random stranger she decided was worth throwing our entire marriage away for, was still struggling to buckle his belt. The airplane bathroom was tiny, barely enough room for 2 people, yet they somehow managed to betray me in there, right under my nose, on our honeymoon flight. And for what? A cheap thrill? A moment of excitement? She finally found her voice. Babe, it's not what it looks like. I let out a cold, bitter laugh. Oh? So you weren't just in here with some random guy while I was sitting up front like a clueless idiot? I turned my camera to the guy. What's your name, buddy? You enjoy screwing married women in airplane bathrooms? He lifted his hands like I was holding him at gunpoint. Hey man, I didn't know she was married. Liar, I snapped. I looked at her, my wife, the woman who had promised to love me until death, and shook my head. How long were you planning this? Huh? Or did you just wake up this morning and decide to be a cheating wife before we even landed? Tears welled up in her eyes. I was drunk. My anger surged. You were drunk? On a 9 a.m. flight? Are you serious right now? The flight attendant arrived at that moment, a short, middle-aged woman with a no-nonsense expression. Sir, please lower your voice. What's going on here? I turned to her and said, loud enough for the entire back half of the plane to hear, my wife just cheated on me in your airplane bathroom. With this guy. On our way to our honeymoon. Gasps. Murmurs. Heads turned. The flight attendant's eyes widened, and she looked at my wife. Ma'am, is this true? My wife buried her face in her hands, sobbing. That was all the confirmation anyone needed. The murmurs turned into whispers. People started whispering behind their hands, shaking their heads, staring at her. And then, someone clapped. It started slow, just 1 or 2 people. But then, more passengers joined in. They were clapping for me. The guy looked horrified. My wife? She looked like she wanted to disappear. Good. The flight attendant sighed. Sir, why don't you return to your seat? We'll deal with this situation appropriately. I wasn't done yet. I turned back to my wife. So tell me, was this the first time? Or have you been cheating on me before we even said, I do? She shook her head violently. No, I swear. I don't know what came over me. I laughed right in her face. Oh, you don't know what came over you? So you just, what? Suddenly got an uncontrollable urge to destroy your marriage before we even got to the resort. She sobbed harder. The guy looked like he wanted to crawl into a hole. Good. Let them suffer. The flight attendant pulled me aside and whispered, Sir, I understand you're upset, but we can't have this escalate into a bigger issue. Please return to your seat. I exhaled, my chest rising and falling with pure rage. But I knew one thing. I wasn't going to waste another second standing near her. So I turned to my wife, stared her dead in the eyes, and said, I'll see you when we land. And trust me, you're gonna regret this more than you already do. Then, I walked back to my seat. And you know what? As I walked, people gave me nods of respect. A few even whispered, Good for you, man. I felt like I had just gone through a war. And the battle wasn't even over yet. For the rest of the flight, I sat there, arms crossed, my mind racing. What the hell was I supposed to do now? We were supposed to be going on our honeymoon. We had the whole trip planned, romantic dinners, island tours, private bungalows. And now, I was sitting on a plane, reeling from the most humiliating, gut-wrenching betrayal imaginable. She stayed at the back of the plane, probably crying the whole time. I didn't care. The second we landed, I was done. When we finally touched down, I didn't wait for her. The moment the seatbelt sign turned off, I grabbed my bag and bolted. I didn't even look at her. She tried to follow me through the terminal, still crying, still begging. Please, let's talk about this. I stopped and turned to face her, right in the middle of the busy airport. Talk? You want to talk? You mean like how you talked to that guy in the bathroom? She winced. I wasn't thinking. You weren't thinking? I repeated, shaking my head. You know what? I'm done. We're over. This honeymoon? Cancelled. This marriage? Dead. Her eyes widened in panic. No, no, please. Don't do this. I love you. I let out another bitter laugh. You love me? You love me so much you couldn't even wait until we landed before screwing some random dude? She collapsed to her knees, sobbing. People were staring, whispering, but I didn't care. I leaned down, looked her straight in the eyes and said, enjoy the Maldives, because after this, you're gonna be enjoying life alone. Then, I walked away. I took a taxi straight to a hotel, canceled the entire honeymoon, and booked a flight home. The next few days were a blur. She blew up my phone with texts, voicemails, emails. Her family called me. Her friends messaged me. Everyone begged me to at least hear her out. But I didn't. I had already heard everything I needed to. I filed for an annulment the moment I got home. And the best part? I had video evidence of her infidelity. She tried to fight it. She tried to convince me to forgive her. But there was nothing left to forgive. She made her choice at 35,000 feet. And now? She had to live with it. Alone. I thought the worst was over once I got off that plane. I thought I could just walk away, erase her from my life, and move on. But I underestimated something. Cheaters don't just give up. They don't just accept the consequences of their actions. They fight. They manipulate. They try to make themselves the victim. And my ex-wife? She was about to take things to a whole new level. The first night back home was brutal. I sat in our apartment, the one we had picked out together, surrounded by wedding gifts that meant nothing now. The place still smelled like her perfume. Her clothes were in the closet. Our wedding photo was still on the nightstand. But the woman in that picture? She wasn't real. The woman I married died on that plane. The woman in that bathroom, giggling while betraying me? That's who she really was. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them. I heard her giggling, the sound of their whispers, the way she begged for my forgiveness in the airport. Forgiveness? She wanted forgiveness? I grabbed the wedding photo and smashed it against the wall. Then I grabbed my phone and opened my messages. 73 unread texts from her. I wasn't in the mood to read her excuses, but my curiosity got the better of me. So I scrolled. Please, baby, talk to me. I don't know what happened. I was drunk. I wasn't thinking. I love you. I swear on my life. You're my husband. We can work through this. Please. You're ignoring me. I get it. But can we at least talk? Then, her tone changed. I know you're mad, but what you did on the plane was embarrassing for both of us. You shouldn't have made a scene like that. You humiliated me. You had no right to record me. That was private. If you don't delete that video, I'll get a lawyer involved. A lawyer? I laughed. She cheats on me, and now she's threatening me? I responded with just 3 words. See you in court. The next morning, I went full scorched earth. I contacted my lawyer and started the annulment process. I texted her, you have 1 day to get your stuff out of the apartment. After that, it's going in the trash. I blocked her number. I changed the locks. I emailed her parents a polite message letting them know their daughter had cheated on me before we even made it to our honeymoon. By noon, my phone was blowing up. Her family, her friends, even her maid of honor were calling me. I didn't answer. Instead, I posted a single message on social media. Marriage lasted less than 24 hours. Turns out my wife couldn't even wait until the honeymoon to cheat. Caught her in the airplane bathroom with a stranger. Full annulment in progress. Thanks for the wedding gifts, though. And just like that, everyone knew. The floodgates opened. My DMs filled up with messages from mutual friends, some horrified, some laughing, some just wanting the drama. But the best part? Her family disowned her. That night, there was a loud banging on my door. I checked the peephole. It was her. I almost didn't open it, but I wanted to see the look in her eyes. So I swung the door open and stood there, arms crossed. Her makeup was smeared. She looked like she hadn't slept. "Please," she whispered. "Just please, don't do this." I didn't say a word. She stepped inside like she still had a right to be there and started crying. "I made a mistake. A horrible mistake. But you can't just erase me like this. We were in love." "We?" I scoffed. "There was no we. There was me, your loyal husband, and you, a woman who couldn't even make it through a plane ride without screwing a stranger." She flinched. It was a moment of weakness. I shook my head. "No, it was who you are." She collapsed on the couch, sobbing into her hands. "I don't even know why I did it. I love you. I never wanted to hurt you." I just stared at her. How do you even respond to that? "So what?" I finally said. "You just randomly destroy the people who love you? Like it's nothing?" She lifted her head, her mascara running down her cheeks. "You don't have to forgive me, but please, don't throw away everything we had." I leaned in close, my voice ice cold. "You already threw it away. On that plane. In that bathroom. With him." Silence. She knew she had lost. "I'll do anything," she whispered. "I'll spend the rest of my life making this up to you." I tilted my head. "You want to make it up to me?" She nodded, desperate. "Yes. Anything." "Then sign the annulment papers," I said. Her face crumbled. "I'll take that as a no," I said, grabbing her purse and shoving it into her arms. "Get out." She shook her head. "Please, baby, please don't do this." I walked to the door and held it open. "I don't know you. I don't want to know you. And I sure as hell don't want to spend another second breathing the same air as you." She hesitated. So I said the one thing that broke her completely. "He was better, right?" Her lip trembled. "What?" I smiled, a cruel, heartless smile. "If you're gonna throw our marriage away for a 5-minute quickie in a plain bathroom, at least tell me the guy was worth it." That was it. She screamed and ran out the door. And just like that, she was out of my life. A week later, she finally signed the annulment papers. She sent me one final text before I blocked her for good. "I don't expect you to forgive me, but I will regret this for the rest of my life." Good. I moved out of our apartment, took some time off work, and started rebuilding my life. And you know what? I don't regret a thing. She thought she could cheat and get away with it. She thought I'd be weak, that I'd cave. But she forgot one thing. I am not a man who forgives betrayal. And now, she has to live with the consequences. You'd think that after getting publicly exposed, humiliated on a plane, disowned by her family, and signing the annulment papers, she'd finally disappear from my life. But no, some people don't know when to quit. Some people don't learn. And my ex-wife? She was about to make one last, desperate move, one that would blow up in her face spectacularly. After she finally signed the annulment, I blocked her everywhere: phone, social media, email. I wanted zero contact. I didn't want to know what she was doing, and I definitely didn't want to hear any more of her pathetic excuses. But one night, 3 weeks later, I got a call from a mutual friend. "Hey, man," he said, his voice hesitant. "I think you should see this." "See what?" "I'm sending you a screenshot. Check your phone." I opened my messages, and when I saw what he sent me, I laughed. She had a new boyfriend. And not just any boyfriend, the same guy from the plane. Yeah, the guy she cheated on me with. She had posted a picture of them together on Instagram, all cuddled up with some caption about forgiveness and new beginnings. I wasn't even mad. I just sat there, shaking my head, laughing, because this was perfect. I had moved on. I was thriving. Started hitting the gym again. Took a solo vacation to clear my head. Went out with friends. I was doing everything right. And she? She had jumped straight into a relationship with the guy she destroyed our marriage for. Now, most men would just walk away. Ignore it. Let karma do its job. Not me. No, no, no. She wanted to play games. I was about to end them. I did some digging. Turns out, her new boyfriend had no idea she was freshly divorced. She had told him that her marriage was already falling apart before the honeymoon, that we were basically separated when she met him, that I was a toxic, controlling husband who never appreciated her. Oh, really? That's funny, because I had a plane full of witnesses who saw me treating her like a queen until she decided to screw a stranger in a bathroom. So I reached out. I sent him everything. The wedding photos from literally 24 hours before she cheated. The video I took of them coming out of the airplane bathroom. Screenshots of her begging me for forgiveness after she got caught. Her final text admitting she would regret it for the rest of her life. And then, just to twist the knife a little deeper, I ended it with, "You're dating my wife. She's all yours, buddy. Hope you like leftovers." It didn't take long for the fireworks to start. About an hour later, my phone started blowing up. Mutual friends were texting me. "Dude, she's freaking out. She's calling everyone, trying to figure out who exposed her. Her new guy dumped her on the spot. Like, straight up blocked her. She's spiraling, man. It's bad." I even got a call from her maid of honor, who had been on my side since day one. "She's a mess," she said, barely holding back her laughter. She called me crying, saying you ruined her life, and that she has nothing left. Oh, boo-hoo. She destroyed her own life. I just made sure she couldn't lie her way out of it. I thought that was the end of it. But then, she showed up. At my apartment, banging on the door. I opened it, and there she was, mascara running, eyes wild, completely unhinged. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she shrieked. "Why would you do this to me?" I leaned against the doorframe, calm as hell. "You mean telling your new boyfriend the truth? Yeah, my bad. Next time, I'll just let you keep lying." She screamed in frustration. "You ruined everything. He was the only good thing I had left." I smirked. "Then maybe you should have kept your legs closed on the plane." She raised her hand like she was going to slap me, but I caught her wrist midair. "Don't," I warned. "I am not the guy you get to play victim with." Tears welled up in her eyes. I just wanted to be happy." I stared at her for a long moment. Then I said, "You don't deserve happiness." She gasped, like I had physically struck her. And maybe that was cruel, but I meant it. She deserved exactly what she got. I let go of her wrist and took a step back. "We're done," I said. "You have no more power over me. No more lies. No more manipulation. Nothing. You're just a bad memory." Her lip trembled. "You don't mean that." I gave her one last look, and then I slammed the door in her face. She tried to reach out a few more times. Sent emails. Tried messaging me on fake accounts. Even had a friend contact me, begging me to give her one more chance. I ignored it all, because I had already won. She lost her husband. She lost her family. She lost her reputation. She lost the guy she threw her marriage away for. And me? I moved on. Found someone new. Someone who actually respects me. And my ex? The last I heard, she was completely alone. No friends, no boyfriend, barely speaking to her family. She had everything, and she threw it all away for 5 minutes of excitement in a dirty airplane bathroom. And now, she has to live with that for the rest of her life. I walked away clean. She walked away broken. And that's the best revenge of all.